Hi, my name is Radhika Bapat and I have a PhD in psychology. I run the 4AMBookclub where we review and rate psychology books, both works of fiction and non-fiction, one a month. We meet at 4 a.m. Indian Standard Time on Fridays for a silent book reading for those of you who wake up early or those who go to bed late. The book for July 2021 is called Useful Delusions: The Power and Paradox of the Self-Deceiving Brain by Shankar, Vedantam and Bill Messler. Now, Shankar is a journalist and science correspondent for the podcast The Hidden Brain that I've been listening to for years on NPR, or National Public Radio, and Bill Messler is a journalist. More about the book. The book took me about 4.5 hours to read, and what particularly interested me were the notes at the end of the book, which led me to looking up many cross-references. These included stories, other books that I might have missed out on reading, and interviews that I have added on my must-listen-to list. So all in all, I did take plenty of notes. The intended audience for the book is anyone interested in human behavior and social sciences, or just about anyone. I give the book 3.5 out of 5 stars because there are moments in the book that were really enjoyable, although some parts I thought dragged on. And I'll be telling you why. So, this is a non-academic book review. The authors of the book note the fundamental paradox in our relationship with truth, meaning, on the one hand, there is being reasonable and rational, but on the other hand, there are all of these examples in history that show us how we love a good story, however fake or far from the truth it may be. Some of these stories, they say, have brought us together as a people, as a nation, and some have given us something to hold on to, hope. The authors ask if holding on to what rationalists call false beliefs may not always be unhealthy. What I mean by that is that, or what they mean by that is, can holding false beliefs actually be adaptive and thereby healthy? You've got to read the book to know more. Now, the authors don't advocate for belief systems that are delusional, but they do point out cases where these delusions have been functional and helpful and evolutionary. Of course, as a cognitive behavior therapist and rational emotive behavior therapist, I was curious to see how they presented these paradoxes, and so that's one reason why I'm glad that I read this book. As someone who's used to reading more technical books, the style in which the book was written read a little bit to me like several episodes of a podcast. But again, this could be because of my own biases, since I'm so used to listening to the Hidden Brain podcast. There were places where I thought the book kind of lacked flow and seemed more like a compilation of narratives and first-hand accounts, some of which were relevant and others I thought a bit oblique or at least peripheral. I also found myself disagreeing on the overgeneralizing assumption that to forswear self-deception is to 100% invite doom and despair or dysfunction, because I kind of in my personal life like the idea of being authentic, even if it causes a little bit of pain initially, because I think eventually it has added value and improved some of my relationships. I did enjoy the references that the authors made to scientific studies and social psychologists, and I myself revisited some of the studies that I had read as an undergrad in psychology. I was exposed for the first time to some really interesting stories, one of which was the Church of Love, and the other was L'eau du robinet, which is French for tap water. Must read those stories. They were really, really entertaining. And if you're in advertising or selling, his examples of General Motors in the context of their arguments would really interest you. As a psychologist, you want to read this book before your clients read it. The link to the book is below, and if you want to join the 4AM Club, the Facebook link for the closed group is also below. So that's all for today. Happy trails to you until we meet again.